See, that's way bright. I feel like at least it's bright. At least you can see me. Let's show me as this thing. Easier to see at least. Anybody here? I don't know if anybody's here. It doesn't look like anybody's here. All right, hi guys. If there's somebody here, I can't really tell. It keeps showing me different numbers, so you guys have to let me know when you come in here. As this is different than Instagram, it doesn't automatically tell me what's going on. So if you are here, then put something in the comment section, the comment box, so that I can see that you're here. Let me see. Saturday, feel good. Hey, Galley. Okay, so you're here. That's good. Is anyone else here? Let's see. I see Galley. How are you, Galley? So how does this look to you, Galley? Is this like, can you see me? Is it clear? Is it glitching? Can you hear me well? Let me know how this is for you. Hopefully we'll get some other folks in. They said they were going to come in. Hopefully everybody can figure out how to get in here, so that we can get our chat going. But while we're waiting on people, Galley, if you want to go ahead and start talking, everything seems good. Okay. Is it better? Does it seem better so far? I know it's been like a couple minutes, but has it been better so far than Instagram with the freezing and glitching and everything, or is it about the same? Is it better? Is it about the same? Is it worse? And can you see me? Because I tried to get this light. I'm trying to not be completely whitewashed here, but I'm also trying to let you guys see me. So let me know how the lighting is, if you can see me, if it's too much light. This thing, let me show you this thing. Besides this light, I also got, I feel like that light is very, very bright. I also got this Himalayan salt pan I got today. I'm going to see how it works. See if it's does anything good for setting ambiance and stuff. It's not bright enough. I would use that because it's a really pretty color, but I would use that for this, but I can't. It's not bright enough. I watched a lot of YouTube live. Okay. Um, well, that's fine. We'll we'll try this out for a while and see if this works better because I'm going to be, of course, doing. Sorry, I'm going to be doing the YouTube channel, obviously, and so I feel like hopefully this will work for us better than Instagram has been working because I know Instagram has been very problematic um, for everybody in one way or another, as far as the glitches and people getting kicked out and all that kind of stuff. So we'll see how this works. But how has your day been, Gally D? This cord is not very long. I'm sorry. I know this is our first time, so anybody watching this after it's done, watching the recording, please bear with me because first time we are using Instagram. I mean YouTube. Kelly, D, have you watched any of the videos that I have up yet? The I think I have like 2 or 3 videos on YouTube, 2 or 3 YouTube videos. Have you watched any of them yet? Okay, let me do this. Hmm. Able. Not yet. Okay. Well, yeah. When you watch them, let me know what you think of them because I want to know. I want to get you guys' opinion on how the videos are so far, and see if you guys, if you like them, if you don't like them, if you think there's something else that I should do. Um, and I'm working on getting more of them up really fast. So I have, like, I did those 2 or those 3. Um, so yeah, so just let me know when you watch them what you think, um, so that we can try to get some good stuff up there. Let me tell you the other topics that I'm going to be doing so far. Because I need ideas, of course, for good videos. Um, where did I put this list? I came up with these. Let me know what you think of these. So I came up with one topic being how to find a spiritual home or a teacher, spiritual teacher. Um, so I think that should be a good one to go over because obviously a lot of people struggle to find a good spiritual community, which I have also struggled to do over the years. So fortunately, I found my place now, but over the years, I've really struggled in finding that. So that was one topic I was going to talk about. Then I was going to talk about the topic of, or do a video on finding your Orisha. Like, how do you know which Orisha is your head Orisha, which Orisha you should work with, all that stuff. Um, then I have one called about starting in the right place. Like where do you start when you come into when you're new in these types of traditions? Where should you start? Right. Um, because I think that's another thing that people kind of can get confused about, and lost with is where do you start when you have so many Orisha and you have so many different rituals and ceremonies and all this type of stuff going on. Like, where should I start when I'm coming into this system? So I'm going to do that. And then it seemed like I don't know, Galaxy, were you on the last live I did where I was telling the stories about the Orisha? Were you on that live? And the thing I like about YouTube is that this live is saved. It's automatically saves and it's just there, from my understanding. Like, I don't think it deletes after 24 hours, so people can always go back and watch it. But were you on for that last one? Oh, you weren't. Okay. So I don't know if it's still. Let me see. Is it still on Instagram? I don't know if it is. No, no, it's gone from Instagram now. It's past that time, the time limit. Looks like someone else. Is there someone else here? Hello, let me know who's here. Who else just came in? But anyway, Galaxy, as I was saying, the last live we did, um, we talked about the Orisha stories and like different myths about the Orisha and kind of their lives and some of their experiences and stuff like that. And we talked about like how, like, what kind of lessons can we learn from those stories? Um, so we may do a little bit of that tonight if we get more people, or if you want to hear some of the stories. Um, but I thought it went really well. It seemed like everybody that was on really liked it. Um, and so, yeah, so I think that I'll probably do some videos. Um, sorry, I'm trying to text someone who's trying to get on here. Um, but yeah, I'll try to do some videos on like the different Orisha stories and what are some of the lessons that we can learn from those stories that we can apply to our own lives, and what are kind of some of the things that we learn about the Orisha through those stories, et cetera, et cetera. Um, so I think that'll be a really good thing to have for people because like there's so many stories about Orisha, um, that a lot of people don't know. You know, um, so yeah, so that'll be. I wish that you were on there because that actually went really well. But anyway, do you have any questions or topics or anything that you want to talk about tonight while we're waiting on these other people to get in? I have a couple people that want to come on that I'm trying to text to try to help them figure out how to get on here. So that's what I'm looking at when I look away. Um, but yeah, do you have any particular topics or questions or advice that you need on anything? Let me know what you guys want to talk about today. I had something that I wanted to talk about, but it left me. I'm going to try to remember. Where's everybody at? Kelly, can you hear me okay? But yeah, so Gally, do you have any questions, anything, any topics? I know you always have something. I know you've got something that you want to talk about. You don't have any Gally, you don't have any questions or topics or anything. You always have questions. You always have topics, and today you don't have anything. Well, let's see. I'm trying to think. I'm trying to remember what it was. 'Cause there was something that I wanted to talk about with you guys today, but I remembered it early. I thought of it earlier today, um, but I can't remember. I didn't get to write it down, and so I can't remember what it was. Um, so, Galady, are you? I can't remember. I think I asked you this before, but I can't really remember what what specific path are you in, or are you trying to practice? I've lately been focused on other things like learning Italian, reading poetry, and reading about historical figures from the Italian Renaissance. Okay, yeah, I remember you telling me that. You said you're learning Italian. That's cool. I try. I started trying to learn Italian a long time ago, like years ago. Um, and I learned like a few things, but I didn't keep up with it. Um, with practicing it. So I should get back to that because this is a good time to learn a language. Like, I really feel like this would be a great time to learn a language because like we have so much free time and there's so much that we can, people are focused on like all the negatives about it, but it's like there's actually a lot of opportunity to do some learn some new things and do some new things that you haven't really done before, you know. So um what made you want to learn Italian? Are you there, Gally D? And I was impressed when I read about how Lucretia Bourgeois could speak Italian, French, Spanish, and Latin. And I figured if she could do it, then I could do it now, starting with Italian. Okay, well there you go. That is a that is true. You know, um, and I think that's a great skill to have. Like to be able to have multiple languages that you can speak because there's then the more languages the more people you can relate to, especially like living in America where there's so many people from so many different places. It's like we can always, you know that lets you just be able to relate to people that you wouldn't be able to relate to otherwise. um latin Latin is something I always wanted to learn too because it's like the foundation of so many languages, and so many words in our languages. I think that would be really good. She had an understanding of Greek on top of all that. That's interesting. So, what makes you so interested in? the Italian Renaissance and those historical figures. I find it fascinating. I think that it was a very beautiful and interesting time period. That's interesting. That's one that I don't really, well, really, well, I can't say that. I was going to say that that's one that I don't hear people talk about a lot, but I actually don't know people who are interested in stuff like that, period, and anybody's historical period. Um, like most of the people that I know, like in person, are not interested in any of it. So really, none of it's something that I hear a lot, actually, um, just because of that. But I think that's cool. I think that's really. Um, sorry, I'm trying to adjust myself here. I think that's really cool, like a cool thing to learn about. When I was actually looking today, I was kind of interested in, um, because I study a lot of different religions and stuff like that. So I was looking at the Romans and their religion, like pre-Christian religion, and I started thinking today about how I started thinking today about like what other like when it comes to Italy, we only hear about Roman religion for the most part. So I was like, I wonder what other religious practices they had in Italy back in those days, like pre-Christian religions in Italy. They couldn't have been, well, not, I won't say it couldn't have been, but I doubt that it was just the Romans, right? That their religion was the religion of all. And Galley D, I think that Karen is trying to get on. I don't know if Peter is coming on or Morgana. Morgana didn't respond. Um, so hopefully we'll get most of our people because I really want to see how this works. How is this, Nicole? I bought a light today, as maybe you can see, and I've been trying to play with it and see um, how I can get it to work properly. Trying to make sure that it will. Is it better? You said you can tell. Is it better? I mean, I know like right in this moment is not better because I'm moving around, but hopefully we'll get this together. Sorry. Yeah, see, there's somebody else here too. Who else? Who all is here? So you guys have to let me know when you come in on here because this thing, YouTube does not show me who's here the same way that Instagram does. So you have to let me know when you come in. So who all is here? I've got Nicole, I got Gally D, and who else? It says there's one more person. Okay, Karen is here. Okay, great, Karen. Um, and that's great. You guys all have like your actual like the same names basically. So that's perfect because then I'll know who's here. All right, so good. Hello, all of you. So what do you guys want to talk about today? Gally D and I were talking about learning Italian and the Italian Renaissance a little bit. Well, she's studying the Italian Renaissance. I don't know anything about it. But I was telling her how today I was studying Roman religion and how I kind of realized like Rome was not the only like I feel like when people talk about Rome, they talk about like they're talking about a country when Rome is just a city, you know. So I was like, there has to be other pre-Christian religions in Italy besides just Rome. like Roman religion. So I was kind of starting to look at that a little bit today to see what I could find. So I'll let you guys know if I find anything interesting. But what do you guys today want to talk about? What topics do you want to talk about? What questions do you want to talk about? What things do you guys feel like you have to share? Because I don't know everything. Some of you guys know things I don't know. So what do you guys want to share? Maybe tell us about. Give me something to help me roll along. I'm hoping that I can remember. I had something that I wanted to talk to you guys about actually that I thought about earlier today, but I didn't write it down, and now I forgot. So hopefully I will remember. Um, but while you guys write what you guys want to talk about, I already told Gally D. I'm gonna tell you guys too. Hello, whoever else just came in. You guys, let me know when you came in. Whoever that is, let me know when you come in because it doesn't show me the same way it does on Instagram. But some topics that I'm thinking about doing videos on, I told these to Gally D, but I'll let you guys know too. Um, how like one video that I'm going to do is how to find a spiritual home or a spiritual teacher, right? Because there's so many people that come in that into the traditions that struggle with that, and I struggle with that as well. So I'm doing a video on that. I'm doing a video on how to find your Orisha. Doing a video on where to start, like when you come into the tradition, where should you start? Where should you begin? Um, Stuff like that. And then the stories about the Orisha. So like how we did last on the last live, we did all the stories about the Orisha. I'm gonna do some YouTube videos specifically about like sharing stories about Orisha and finding what we can learn from those stories. Because that seemed like it went really well. It seemed like everybody enjoyed that. Hearing the stories and hearing, and kind of going through together and breaking down what we can learn from that about ourselves, about life, about the Orisha, et cetera, et cetera. Um, so yeah, so I'll probably be doing that too. So let me know what you guys think of those ideas, and if you guys have any other ideas for stuff that I could do, because I want to get some good content up. But yeah, that's it. Um, let's see, where did this thing go? Oh, okay. But yeah, so Nicole, Karen, Gally D, what do you guys want to talk about? I know somebody's got some questions or some topics. And whoever this other person is, there's one other person here. You got to tell me who you are. So I can't, it doesn't show me your name. Self employment. What do you want to talk about self employment, Karen? I don't know anything. I'm not self employed. Um, I think self employment is a good thing to be. Yeah, this showed me there's 6 people here, but I only see. Okay, I see Peter just joined. Hello, Peter. Ashe, Ashe. Okay, so Karen, I'm not self-employed, so I don't know anything about it. I can't tell nobody nothing about self-employment because I am not self-employed yet. I will be one day in this life, but today is not that day. Um, an idea is to take each Orisha one by one and make videos. I could do that. I could do that. I could do that, Nicole. Sorry, and I guess I didn't put lotion on my arms. Um, but yeah, so I could do that. I could do a video on Orisha. Peter, how's it going? How's your day been? What do you want to talk about? What topics, what questions do you have? Orisha related, spiritually related, anything else related? Um, yeah. So yeah, I could do that though, Nicole. I could do a video on the Orisha. Sorry. Sorry, guys. Trying to. I'm new to this YouTube, so I'm trying to get this together. Um, so you can label each video and give it and have a topic. Yeah, we could do that. We could do that. And really, I could do like you guys have to. I don't. Um Who has watched some of the videos? 'Cause I have 3 videos up on YouTube. Who has watched? Let me know who has watched those and who has not. Um, I need the plug for an Orisha reading via your live on IG. I need the plug for an Orisha reading via your live on IG. Um, so you would, are you talking? Okay, so Peter, are you asking for to find out who your Orisha is? Is that what you're asking? Want to put those in here? No, Nicole, not Chief Daily necessarily. Um, Possibly, but not necessarily. Peter, is that what you're talking about? You're looking to get a reading for to find out who your Orisha is? Yes, but who does those readings around here? And is the reading through tarot or oracle cards? Okay, so Peter, the reading, first of all, it wouldn't be done through tarot or oracle cards, through neither one. It's only done to find out your Orisha, you have to go through Ifa. Ifa is a specific divination system. Like there's tarot cards is a divination system, oracle cards is a divination system, um, and Ifa is a divination system. So you would have to go specifically to about the Babalavo, get the Ifa reading, and all that type of stuff. But I mean, I can refer you to some different people. You don't have to be in person with them um, in order to get that reading done. I can send you some people that you can check out. Chief Daily could be one of them, but he won't necessarily be the one. But the thing is that, okay, so Peter, let me ask you when it comes to Orisha, Ifa type traditions, how new are you? I know you said you're new. How new are you? And you guys, as everybody else who's here, as I'm talking, I'm watching the comments. So keep putting your comments, keep putting your questions and stuff like that, and I will get to everybody. Okay. Um, Karen, if you want to share some information about that, I don't know, but I don't know anything. I can't tell anybody. I'd be a fool to try to tell somebody how to be self-employed, and I'm not self-employed myself. Um, Peter said he's brand new. Okay, so Peter, forget completely forget about Orisha for a moment. Okay. Um, if you're brand new, you don't need to know who your Orisha is. It's not important. It's not relevant. It's not going to benefit you anything. Um, Everybody always wants to know their Orisha before they even have a relationship with their ancestors. So it's like you're skipping a step. So I'm actually going to be doing some videos kind of about this stuff. But before you get to the point of trying to learn who your Orisha is, you need to first connect with your Ori and your ancestors. So your Ori is basically like your higher self, right? It's your higher self. Um, it is, yeah, it's your higher self, basically, is the easiest way of putting it. But that, like, you need that connection first, your connection with your Ori. You need to make sure that's strong. Make sure you're praying to your Ori, beseeching your Ori's help, doing divination with your Ori, getting your Ori's guidance, also getting that relationship with your ancestors. That's where you start. Don't worry about Orisha, because if you jump to Orisha before you have your Ori and your ancestors together, you're really kind of skipping a step because the Orisha can't even bless you without your Ori. You know, so don't skip that stuff. You said I have that relationship with my immediate ancestors. So what do you do with your ancestors right now? Mm-mm, I don't know. You said you have the relationship with your immediate ancestors. So what connection do you have exactly with them? Like what do you do with them? Like do you have an ancestor altar? Are you making offerings? Are you doing rituals or do you just know who they are and you just like what do you do? Okay, your altar is there. Okay. How long have you had your ancestor altar? I got oh really? Oh, a year and a half. Okay, great. Um, well that's good. So you have like do you Peter, do you know how to do like divination with your ancestors and stuff like that? Guys, I'm gonna show you this. I got this. I'll turn it down. I got this Himalayan salt lamp today. It's very, very cool. Got it at Walmart for $16. Libations, meditations, offerings. Okay, great, 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 great. But so do you, um, so you got one too? Yeah, I just got it today. I like it so far. I'm gonna see how it does. See if it does anything good to me. Um, okay, so with ancestors though, so you have your altar, you got libations, meditations, offerings. That's awesome. Do you know how to um do you know how to do like divination with them to like get like just divine with them? Yeah, the one with the four cowrie shells, Nicole. So ancestor money. People tell me about ancestor money. Nicole sent me some ancestor money um, that I have that I use. I actually need to use some of it, but okay, yeah, not the pendulum, Nicole. I'm talking about the four cowrie shells. Peter, you and I may have to do a video on it. Um, said baby steps. No, so the divination that I'm talking about is very simple. Um, 'Cause I'm talking about like the very, very, very basic divination that anybody can do. Because it's actually considered within Ifa, considered a birthright for you to communicate with your ancestors in your Ori. And so I don't know if I'm going to get with you personally, or maybe I will get with you personally, but also maybe do a video. Do you guys, okay, so let me ask this. Does everybody here, there's like three or four people here, do you guys know how to do the four cowrie shell divination? I know some of you were on when Chief Aladele did it, but do you guys remember how to do it? Karen, Nicole, Gally D, Peter. Well, I know Peter doesn't. That's who we're talking about. But the rest of you that are here, do you guys know how to do it? The four cowrie shell divination. Nicole said yes. So you remember the in detail, Nicole, what he taught us? Because Peter, the four cowrie shell divination is like the basic divination. So it's considered your birthright to communicate with your Ori and your ancestors. So you don't need anybody, you don't need any priest, you don't need anybody um, or anything like that in order to get to them. So the divination, I'll show you how to do the divination system. I may even do a video on it that will show you the very, very basic. It's like it's just yes and no. Like I'm just going to show you that level of yes, no, and that way you'll be able to go to your ancestors. So if you have a question, if you have a question and you're like, I don't know, is this the best opportunity for you? You're going for a job and you get a job offer, you can ask them, is this the best job opportunity for me at this time? And then cast the shells and then they'll tell you yes, no, maybe, whatever. Um, so I will show you how to do that. And that way that'll help you just get one more layer onto what you can do with your ancestors. But it's great that you already have all that stuff going. Um, but yeah, but that's great. So you got your whole ancestor connection going. So that's awesome. Um, Now, what I suggest, Peter, if you go on my YouTube channel and you watch the video about, there's a video that I have on there called "What If I Don't Know My Ancestors" or something like that. Watch that video, and that video, because I know you said you have the connection with your immediate ancestors, so that video will give you some tips on how to kind of connect with more than just the immediate ancestors that you have, which that's great that you have that, you know what I'm saying? But just to open it up to all of your ancestors, that video will give you a few more tips on how to do that. So watch that video. Um, Now, how are you with your Ori? He said, good. I've been reading up on all this and you came at the time the universe intended. Well, that's great. And it's very effective, especially when you have a relationship with them. It is. It is. It is. You guys see me? I hope you guys can see me. So Nicole, let me ask you too. Nicole, do you know about Ori? Are you familiar with the concept of Ori, or how to, do you know about Ori, Nicole? I know you know about it, Karen, about Ori. And Peter said he doesn't know Ori. Okay. Um, Nicole. Okay, Nicole, really quick, type what you know about Ori. Tell me what you know. Um, I'm very confused. All right. Tell me what you know about Ori. Let me find my notebook that has my notes about Ori. I'm going to tell you guys all about Ori. I have to find my notebook. 1 second. All right. I found it. I have my ancestor journal. So this is my ancestor journal. I have to get a new one because I just like a week ago finished the whole thing. So I have had this for like 2 or 3 years. The ancestor journal is a great thing to have. If you guys don't have one, to keep track of all your dealings with your ancestors, what you learn, dreams, divination that you do with them, signs and symbols that they give you, blah 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 blah. Great, great way to keep track of everything. But okay, so Peter and Nicole and Karen, whoever else is here. So let's talk about Ori for a second, right? So your Ori is very important, and I myself and Karen, if you have stuff about Ori that you want to share, can you type that in to give them a better idea of Ori as well? Um, but it's your spiritual head. I mean, it's Ori is the word for physical head as well, but it's your spiritual head. But it's your higher self. So I'm going to read you some notes that I yes. Um, am I still here for you guys? Do you guys still see me and hear me? Okay, I think it's back. So I said something was wrong with my connection. Um, so Ori is the spiritual head, like Nicole said, or the higher self of the individual. And so here's the thing about Ori, right? That everything, everybody, and everything in existence has an Ori, right? So you have an Ori, I have an Ori. This lamp has an Ori, apparently, if I understand correctly. Um, Important. And let me get my whole bag. I don't whatever, or if you want to look back at the live after, because it will be saved. But I'm gonna read you this Odu and why Ori is so important. One of the reasons why Ori is so important. Okay. So let me find it here. Do this Odu, right? About Ori. Hold on. You said Nicole said, not your ego. You have to be able to decipher between the two. Yeah, but Ori is more. I mean, yes, that's the basic understanding, but Ori is more complex, a lot more complex than that. But okay, so let me read this from the Odu Irete Ofun. Don't worry if you don't know what an Odu is right now, but basically the Odu in simple terms is like the sacred, like the holy scriptures of Ifa, right? For simplicity. But anyway, it says, let me start. I'm not going to read the whole thing. I'm just kind of read the specific parts. Okay, so it says, he who prints the chalk on the back of crocodile, he was the owl who cast Ifa for the 401 Irumale, which is like, it was just the Orisha, when going to a state of perfection. Ori, who cast Ifa for Ori, when Ori was going to destiny. They were all advised to a state of perfection, and they were all advised to offer um, to make sacrifice, right? But it says that only Ori responded by right. So it says the sacrifice of Ori had been abundantly rewarded. Ori is higher than all the Orisha. It is only Ori which reaches perfection, the perfect state. Says no other Orisha can give support outside of one's Ori. Ori is higher than all Orisha. Right. So that's a second that made the sacrifice. Ori is higher than all the Orisha, as I didn't know any better, and nobody taught me better at the time. Um, but and the problem is that he's approved. Let me find something else good about Ori to tell you guys. Placed within the person by Olodumare. So Ori, basically your Ori and Destiny, it is not just in this lifetime, but so in lifetime, like in your last life, deeds and activities and whatever of that life. I would really suggest that before you get to, and again, I can go into more detail about this stuff, but that's something else I would suggest. So it's great that you have the relationship with your ancestors already. That's awesome. Um, so now I encourage you to start working on establishing the relationship with your Ori, right? And like Nicole used the word intuition, like I think that's a great word to use in connection um, with Ori. But Ori, like I'm still learning about Ori. It's something that when I came into the tradition, it was not. I feel like it's not pushed as hard as it could have been. So I really didn't start learning about Ori first, like I should have, or not necessarily should have, but may have been better. Um, but like this year, especially, I've been really focused in on trying to connect with my Ori. So that's what I would suggest that you do. But I can definitely, like, once you feel like comfortable, like, okay, I've got my relationship with my ancestors, I've got my relationship with my Ori, got that connection established, then it'd be like, okay, now um, let's get you to a place where you can, um, you can do your finding out who your Orisha is, and because you get your Orisha, like, there's a ceremony that you do, the Hand of Ifa, and then that's where you can find out your Orisha and all this kind of stuff. That's just a little bit about that. So, yeah. Does that make sense, guys? Hopefully that was clear. I wasn't like I could go back in like in more detail about it. I wanted to kind of read you some of my notes, but I wasn't really prepared with those because I didn't know we were going to talk about that. Let me see. But your Ori is very, very important. Let me see. What other hopefully that makes sense, you guys. And if you have any questions about it, let me know. Put it in the comments. Or if you guys have other topics or anything that you want to talk about or questions that you may have, um, let me know. Let me make sure I answered all of Peter's questions here. Where is it? Peter, where do you live? Are you still in here? Where do you live? This thing is like Instagram in the sense that it'll show me like the numbers of people that it says on like keeps changing, and then or it won't say that someone's here, but then they'll make a comment, so they obviously are here. So it's kind of like Instagram in that way. So I don't know. Somebody has to get their system together with that part. I have to do. I've been freezing up. Am I frozen now? Have I been freezing up a lot, or just like recently, or before? What? Yeah, this thing. Am I freezing up right now? Type it. Okay. Can you hear me right now? Is there who all is here? Everybody, let me know who's here. Who can hear me? Who can see me? Who's here? Because it says that there's three people on, but the people count says three people on here, but the names that shows only shows one person. So Nicole, I know you're here. Can you hear me? Peter, are you still in here? Who else? Who else is here? It may only be you, Nicole. So everybody else, I don't know if other people got kicked out or what, because it shows me three people over here. It shows me with the people person count. It shows me three people, but when I pull up the list to see the names of people, it only shows me you. So I don't know. Okay, you're here. You hear me? Okay. So it may only be you here right now. Let me see something. Hold on. Let me check Instagram, make sure, because somebody just sent me a message on there. Okay. See, now it shows me four people. Let me show. See, it showed me four people are on here, but it only shows me one name. So I don't really know what's going on. Is who's here? Anybody here besides Nicole? Okay, Karen is here. Okay, good. It wasn't even showing me. See, it's not even showing me Karen's name, but now it's showing me. Okay, so Karen's here, Nicole's here. Anybody else? Anybody else here? If you guys are here, let me know that you're here. Okay, so but Nick, Karen, and Nicole that I know are here, and anybody else who may be here. Um, Hopefully, what I was kind of saying with the breakdown about Ori made some kind of sense. I'll probably have to do a video on it, or maybe a live session specifically on it, or something like that. But what else do you guys want to discuss, or do you guys want to hear some Orisha stories? Um, what? What do you guys want? This is the book, you guys, that I was telling you about Eshu. When I was telling the stories about Eshu last week, or not last week, but on the last live, this is the book. It is called Tales of Eshu, Yoruba Divine Messenger, and Trickster Orisha. Galady is still here. Okay, awesome. Oops. Sorry guys, but yeah. So this book is very good. I have only gotten this far, so not very far. But in this little space, there's like a lot of stories about Eshu in just that little space, and they're all very interesting. Very, very interesting Orisha to learn about. And what else, guys? What do you guys want to do? Let me see. You guys want stories? Do you guys want to talk about something specific? I don't know if Peter's here still or not. Let me see. Let me see. Karen, why don't you tell us something? Tell us something interesting because I know you are quite experienced with Orisha traditions and stuff like that. So, what is something good that you can share with us, or that you think I should talk about? And you guys didn't let me know. Nobody let me know. Have any of you guys watched the videos that I have up on YouTube yet? I think I have 3 videos up there. Has anybody watched any of them? Aaron said yes, they're good. Okay, good. I'm glad you like it. So, do you have um, you guys have to, like, as I do them, make sure that you guys obviously subscribe, which obviously you are subscribed. But make sure you tell other people about it. Make sure that you guys like the videos when you watch them, like press the like button, um, and like leave comments and stuff like that, because I think that that might factor into like how high it shows on ratings and stuff like that. So more people will be able to find it. Um, so yeah, so I'm trying to put like hashtags and stuff like that, or like the tags, so when people search, they'll find it. But I'm trying. Hopefully, we'll get a lot of people on YouTube to join in. So you guys definitely have to let me know, your suggestions, how you're liking them. I'm glad that you like the ones that are up there so far. And I'm gonna keep trying to get more up as soon as possible. But Nicole says she wants to hear a story. So let me see if I can find a good short story in this book about Eshu. Let me see. Um, 'Cause I don't have. No, because I had another book that has a bunch of stories about all the Orisha in there. Well, not all of them, but a lot of the Orisha in there. Um, but yeah. Okay, so here's a short story. Well, let me see if I can find a short. So, all right. So here's a short story. There's one day long ago in Ile Ife, Orumila and his wife, who wished to have a son, went to visit Orishanla at his palace. Orishanla is another name for Obatala. Upon arriving, Orumila saw a young boy seated to the left of the main entrance. Orumila looked at the boy but did not say anything. He continued walking and went inside the palace. Shortly after, he was in the presence of Orishanla. He said, "Ah, great Orishamla, I came here to ask you to grant me special ashe because my wife wishes to have a child." Orishamla said, "Honorable Orumila, the time is not right for you to have a child." Orumila was disappointed but curious at the same time. He said, "Tell me, Orishamla, who is the boy who I saw sitting outside your palace's entrance?" Orishamla said, "That boy is bad news. He is a spirit waiting to be born." Orumila grew excited. He said, "If he is waiting to be born, can I have him as my son?" Orishanla said, "I assure you that the boy spirit outside is not the ideal son for you to have." Orumila said, "Ah, but my wife and I wish so much to have a child. I am sure we could make things right for him." Orishanla stood firm in his position. He said, "I cannot let you have him." Orumila insisted so much that Orishanla granted him permission for his wife to conceive the boy spirit. Sometime later, Orimila's wife gave birth to a male child. To their astonishment, this child was Eshu. From the moment Eshu was born, he was a very agile child. He was able to speak and had an insatiable hunger. Eshu ate everything he could get his hands on. After he finished eating all the food he was given, he ate anything that was around him. Not yet satisfied, Eshu ate his mother, and still not satisfied, he set off in pursuit of Orumila to devour him too. Um, when Eshu attempted an attack, Orumila became angry at his behavior and surprised him with a sharp sword. Immediately, Orumila pursued Eshu in an attempt to kill him. Eshu ran away, trying to escape, but Orumila was right beside him in close pursuit. With each step Eshu took, Orumila gave him a with his sword, cutting him in 201 pieces. Each time Orumila gave another blow, the 201st piece transformed itself into a whole Eshu again. This multiplicity effect went on until they grew tired and finally came to an agreement that pleased Eshu and Orumila as well as the Orishas and the people on earth. Eshu returned everything he had eaten, including his mother, in exchange for being the first Orisha to be saluted, worshipped, and fed in all rituals and ceremonies. He demanded respect and special treatment from all Orishas and from everyone on earth. This agreement is still honored today. So that is a short story about Orumila. I mean, Eshu. So what do you guys think? What do you think about that story? Because the moral of the story, like the title of that story is Eshu becomes the first Orisha. So it's basically telling, because of course, Orisha, I can't talk today, sorry. Obviously, Eshu is the Orisha that is the first and the last. Eshu is honored at the beginning of every ceremony before the other Orisha. So as far as Orisha goes, he comes first, right? So this is one account, one story, one tale about trying to explain why Eshu is the first Orisha, right? So it's not the only version I've heard, but that is one. So, but what did you guys think about that particular story? I'll see if I can find other short stories here as also. Some of these stories are really long, so that's why I can't. I'm trying to find like short ones. All right. Let me just think. I'm trying to see. What do you guys think of it? No, nobody has anything to say about that story. Like the shortest one. All right, good story. Yeah, it's that story to me is. Let me see if I can find it again. Where is it? Okay, I think to me this story is one of the lessons of this story is about patience and about making sure that things are done in their right time. Um, that to me is one of the lessons of that story because Orumila and his wife were kind of impatient about having a child. They wanted a child, and Obatala Orishamla was trying to tell them, like, no, this is not the right time, right? Like, of course, like everybody has their destiny, that you have your path. There's a time when these things are supposed to happen. And so Orishamla is trying to say, hey, this is not the time for you to do that, to have a child. And they were impatient, and their impatience caused them, even with the warning, when they said when Orumila was asking about the child sitting outside the palace, Obatala was trying to say, "Hey, this is not the one that you want. This is not the time for you to have a child, and that's not the child that you want." Right? And but they were too impatient, and they just had to have a child. So when they had the child caused them a lot of havoc. Um, and so to me, that's kind of a message about being patient and waiting for the right time, which is sometimes very challenging to do as people, because sometimes we feel like we're running out of time. We feel like things are taking too long. And whatever other reasons that we may become impatient with the manifestation of whatever it is that we want, the manifestation of our destiny, the manifestation of our desires, our wishes, whatever it may be. And so this story kind of points to the fact of how if we are impatient and we move too soon, if we make a move too soon, we can cause ourselves more havoc and more chaos and more drama than is necessary. And I think that if we all look at our lives, like over the years, we can kind of see situations where that's the case. Like if we had just been a little bit more patient. Um, and yeah, so that's kind of the message I get from that story. Aside from the message of how Eshu became the first Orisha to be honored, it's a story with a message of being patient and waiting for the appropriate time. Because if you wait for the appropriate time, like if Obatala and his wife or Orumila and his wife had waited for the right time, they would have gotten the child that they needed, the child that would have brought them peace, that would have brought them joy, that would have brought them prosperity, or whatever it was that they were meant to have. But because they could not wait, because they could not be patient, because they could not wait for the correct time, they moved too soon, rushing things along, and it just caused them a bunch of drama, to the point where Eshu ate his mother, you know. Um, so yeah, so that is kind of the lesson that I learned in that story off the top of my head. Um, so, yeah. So Nicole, what did you think about that? Or Gally, whoever else is here, what did you guys think? I don't know if you guys are still here or not. It shows me four people, but it's only showing me one name. I don't know if anybody else is here. I'm going to tell another story that I just remembered. Karen, you may know this. I don't know if anybody else is here. If you guys are here, you may know this, you may not. Um, but I forget the name of the story. I forget what it's called. This is another story about Eshu. So the story goes that there were two friends, two guys who were best friends. They had been best friends their whole lives. Um, and they both owned, they were like kind of inseparable, right? And so they both owned farms, and their farms were right next to each other. And in between their farms, the only thing separating one person's property from the other was this road that went down the middle of their two farms. Okay. And so you got this guy's farm over here, the road in the middle, the other guy's farm here. So they would all day long, they would work their farms, work their fields, chat, laugh, have a good time, go drink together, go do whatever they're doing, right? And so Eshu sees them. And sometimes I think Eshu is just kind of bored, is what it sounds like. Like, I don't know, like, are you bored? Uh, but he sees them. Oh, you know what it was? In one version of the story that I heard was that they would always like they weren't really making offerings properly or whatever. But anyway, so Eshu saw them, saw that they were best friends, saw that they were inseparable. Um, they had their farms right next to each other or whatever. So he goes and he puts on Eshu puts on a hat, right? And the hat is like if you envision a hat and like go like right down the middle of the hat, one half of the hat is all black, the other half of the hat is all white. So depending on which side of him you're standing on, you're going to see a different color, right? So he puts on this black and white hat, one side's white, one side's black, and he walks down the road that separates their farms. And when as he's walking down, he says hi to them, and he keeps walking, and or he says hi to one guy, whatever, keeps walking down the road. And so he says to the one friend says to the other, like, "Hey, did you see that guy with that white hat that went by?" And the guy says, "I saw the guy, but he didn't have a white hat. He had a black hat, right? Because remember, the hat is like one side's all white, one side's all black." So he was like, so they just going back and forth. No, he had a white hat. No, he had a black hat. No, he had a white hat. No, he had a black hat. On and on and on. So they end up getting into this really big argument, really big fight, and they stop being friends over this guy in the hat, right? And so ends up ruining their friendship, basically, right? And time goes by. So now a couple years have gone by, right? A couple years have gone by, and these guys are no longer friends, starting because they got in this argument with this guy or over this guy, right? Um, and so one day, Eshu comes to them. They go to the temple. Eshu comes to them and explains to them. I forget how they came to be with Eshu, but he came. He showed up with them, and he explains to them what happened and how he had this hat that was two different colors depending on which side you were standing on, as you would see a different color. And so the guys reconciled, rectified their relationship, and became friends again. But they lost like several years of friendship over, and they ruined a lifelong friendship over this argument. Um, so that is another story about Eshu and kind of some of the things that he will do. And I think that for me, part of the understanding of that story is perspective, right? It's perspective, and it is making sure that well, let me talk about perspective first. So it's about perspective, and because each one was looking from a different perspective. One was seeing a white hat, one was seeing a black hat. Now they were both correct. The hat was white, and it was also black, but they only saw their side. And I think kind of the message with that is to make sure that we're not only seeing things, that we're willing to see things from other people's perspective, right? Because like if you're looking and you see this white hat, and so you think the whole hat is white, or the other person's looking and they see this black hat, and so they think the whole hat is black, and then they dig their heels in and they stick to that and they say this is what it is, and if somebody else comes along and says something different, then they're not willing to hear it, and not realizing that they don't even have the full picture. If they had seen a shoe from the front, they would have seen, or from the back, they would have seen that it was both colors. So I think the message there is to make sure that we're looking at the whole picture and not just one perspective. Making sure you're getting all sides of a story, making sure, and two, just understanding that we don't have all the information. There may be somebody who has a piece of information that we don't have. Um, yeah. So that's another story about a shoe. So what do you guys think about that story? Nicole said, I enjoy that story. Talking about the other story, she said, I enjoy that story. It also tells how you will get what you want, but if you're patient, you will get not only what you want, but what you need. Yes, I agree. That was for the last story. But yeah, I agree with that. Get what you want, get what you need. And sometimes you don't get what you want. And that's just the fact. Like, I think most times we don't really get what we want, but we get what we need. Um, yeah, that's what I think. I think that like sometimes we get what we want, but sometimes what we want is not good for us. And it's not even a matter of timing. It's just not something that's good for us at all. And so I think that when you have, again, when you're rushing things, when you're not being patient, you can kind of miss that lesson that maybe what you want is not so good for you, right? So, and then oftentimes we find out like once we get what we needed versus what we wanted, we're able to see and understand, you know, how this thing that we were given that was what we actually needed, we're able to see how that actually is better than what we wanted, right? And so it becomes and kind of become the thing that we want because we realize how much better it is than what we wanted. And that's the thing I think about spirit a lot of times is that spirit can come up with can bless us with things that we like their plan can be so much better than what we could have dreamed up for ourselves, you know, and so much more fulfilling than what we could have dreamed up for ourselves. And I think that's like a lesson that I've learned. So, you're right, Nicole. I think that's a good lesson from that. And I think that, if we can, you know, that's something that we really have to learn. We have to, in those moments where we feel pressure, or we feel anxious, or we feel impatient, we have to just step back and take a breath and realize that it's all about timing and it's all about getting what we need and coming to our destiny. Because sometimes we want things in life that is not in line with our destiny. Like, do you want to achieve your destiny, fulfill your destiny, or do you just want whatever temporary thing you want that's not going to move your soul journey along? You know, yeah. And I've seen that a lot in my own life. There's things I want that I wanted and things that I want in my life that, seem to, it's like, it either seems like it's taking too long or it seems like it might not be in line with my destiny or whatever. And, it's, I've had to learn to be content and learn to be happy and learn to be appreciative for what is mine, right? Because our society, you know, is structured in a way that it makes you it always puts it always puts people into this comparison game, right? Comparing ourselves to other people, right? And the problem is with that is that you have to look at, okay, if you are now, some people are, of course, not in this belief system, but if you are in this belief system, if this is your way of life, then you have to see, okay, if I believe in destiny, if I believe in Ori and destiny and my soul journey and whatever words you want to use, then I have to like we have to rewire our thinking to where we have to understand, okay, if I really believe in destiny and I really believe in this soul journey, I really believe in these karmic lessons, et cetera, that I'm supposed to be learning, then I can't allow myself to give into the um I can't allow myself to give into comparison the comparison game, because I understand that my destiny and this other person's destiny are not the same. So why would I compare myself to this other person who has a completely different destiny than I do? So my life is not going, like, I can't compare my life to yours or anyone else's because we're not the same. We didn't come here for the same reason. It's just like take the example of wealth, right? Like billions of dollars, right? Like some people may need billions of dollars. That billions of dollars is a part of their destiny, right? And they may need those billions of dollars to achieve whatever it is that they came in here in this world to do. Whatever their destiny is, they may need those billions of dollars to achieve that, right? I might not need billions of dollars to achieve my destiny. So therefore, my life is not going to manifest billions of dollars. And it's okay. But if I sit here and I play this comparison game and I compare myself to the person that's a billionaire, then it's like it's a losing game, you know. Um, so yes, I think that we have to just make sure that we're not really falling into that trap of comparing ourselves to other people, and just really allow and be grateful for what our destiny, our individual destiny is, and be grateful for the things that are manifesting in our lives that are allowing us to move closer to that destiny, things that are manifesting in our lives to help us in that destiny, you know. And like one thing that I think is interesting to go along with that is that as we get older, as we come to a certain point in our life, it's very common to hear people start saying things like, if I had only known then what I know now, you know, um, you'll hear that phrase or something like it. And I myself have said that many times, and there's certain things where it's like, okay, like certain things that are going well in my life right now where I'm like, I wish that I had this part of my life was going well 5 years ago, or 10 years ago. Like, imagine if 10 years ago I had been at a certain level, at a certain positive level with this thing, then imagine where I would be now, you know? And you look at it, in terms of your whole life, and you realize that you don't live forever in this form, at least. So it's like, okay, it would have been nice to have this benefit, this positive thing 5, 10 years ago, but again, it comes back to what is your destiny? When was the right time in your destiny for this thing to manifest? Right. And so it's like I have to accept the fact that now, at this point in my life, is when this was supposed to manifest. This was, I guess, maybe the time in my life that it could manifest that I would have the right appreciation for it, or know what to do with it. Because I think sometimes we can have things that are positive, have blessings even that we don't even know what to do yet because we're not advanced enough or mature enough or wise enough or whatever it may be, to even handle it properly. you know so so I'll leave that alone, but that's kind of my thoughts on that right there. Hopefully that made some type of sense. um but yeah, so anybody have any other questions, topics, comments, anything? Anything else you guys want to talk about before I go? No questions, you guys? No questions, no comments, no other topics? No. All right, guys. Well, if you guys don't have anything else, I'm going to go. You guys can watch it back if you want to. It will be saved, and hopefully, as we get used to this new platform, this will get easier and flow better, of course. But we just have to get used to the new platform. So we'll do this a few times, see how it works. If we like it, we'll keep doing it on here. If not, then we will go back to Instagram. Hopefully more people will join us on here. Um, but yeah, so if you guys have a good night, I will talk to you later. Have a great, what is this? Have a great evening. Bye, Galaxy.